At the top of the show, I told you about one of the most disturbing aspects when it came to the attack in the Capitol, and that was whether or not we had an enemy within, whether or not members of Congress actually helped the rioters. Now, the FBI, they're investigating that very question right now, but the allegations are not new. Take a listen to Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill of New Jersey speaking out just a week after the riot.
Those members of Congress who had groups coming through the Capitol that I saw on January 5th, a reconnaissance for the next day, those members of Congress that incited this violent crowd.
Let's bring back Elizabeth Neumann, a former top official in the Homeland Security Department, to discuss that as well as more. In the day or days after the riots, I interviewed Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. She's a moderate Democrat and also military service to her record. And I got to tell you, Elizabeth, I was shocked then. She said to me, I got real security concerns about people that are in the Capitol with me. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, I'm talking about fellow lawmakers. We've now seen that the FBI is looking at actual communications, phone records, as to whether sitting members of Congress may have aided or abetted some of the principals involved in the riots. We've heard, again, I've talked to people on and off camera, again, that are not just, people who are throw around incendiary comments for the fun of it. They said it did not make sense, given who was banned, how some lawmakers were giving tours. There's no way, it takes you years to figure out how the building works, but people knew which doors to go to, how to navigate this Byzantine hallways and everything that we have. They knew where they were going. It is so chilling to think that we could have members of Congress. I mean, that's treason if you're working with these kind of elements. And I know I saw a note that you said they should be looking at a Congressman Gosar. You've heard names like Brooks and the rest. I hope this is all wrong, but my God, if it's right.
So if you're a member of Congress and you're hanging out with these guys, that alone, at a minimum, if it was unwitting, you should be censured. So we send a strong signal. If you knew it was illegal and that you were basically fraternizing with a violent extremist organization, I think you should be expelled from Congress. And then we go to that next level, which is absolutely criminal if they actually aided and abetted the insurrection. And that's where we really have to wait on the investigations. We need the criminal justice system to do its job and find those connections, be able to prove it in a court, and they should be locked up. It's beyond whether you should hold office. You should be put in jail if you contributed to the insurrection.
Do you believe that we at our peril, my hope is that after people saw what happened on the 6th, that some of the folks that bought this QAnon insanity realized that all these, conspiracy theories didn't come true, and they stepped away. Or if you're an Oath Keeper or some of these other militias that you see that you're being branded a terrorist and anti-American, that they'll now hopefully stand down. At our peril, do we think they've learned their lesson, or are they actually incentivized by what happened on that horrible day?
I think it looks really dangerous right now. I'm not overly optimistic that we have too many Republicans with integrity, but I'm doing what I can, and I know others like Adam Kinzinger and Ben Sass and Mitt Romney were trying to stand up and hold people accountable for doing the right thing and speaking the truth.
And shockingly, a target of that day, Vice President Pence, inexplicably continued to further this as recently as this week. But Elizabeth, I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So obviously we just spoke about the election lies that Trump and his supporters keep spreading to this day. Later on this hour, we're going to be speaking about the GOP efforts as we speak to clamp down on voting rights as Democrats want to get more people to the polls. But up next, new developments in both of the scandals that Governor Cuomo is dealing with and could cost him his job. One of his accusers airs her complaints during a network TV interview, and we get new information on the nursing homes controversy. After the break, a state lawmaker who used to work in Albany, he'll join us to discuss.